life's biggest challenge.
BJP double engine সরকার এই লড়াই বাঁচতে হবে।
Battleground Bengal with Manogya Loiwal.
The world in a state of complete
Welcome back. You're watching Prime 5 with me, Raisha Seghar. Let's take you through our top highlights of today. We'll, of course, be tracking the Noida Techie's demise, the lapses, and about a lost letter which was filed in 2023 and how that letter perhaps could have saved this person's life, 27-year-old Yuvraj Mehta. We'll also be tracking all that's happening in Greenland when it comes to Greenland's acquisition by the US President Donald Trump being adamant, and he says that US will have to have Greenland. The latest coming in is now Denmark has rushed its troops to Greenland. We'll be tracking both the top stories in Prime 5, but first, the headlines. All right, NDTV reveals glaring lapses that led to the death of 27-year-old Yuvraj in Noida near the capital. A 2023 letter flagging the need to install regulator at the pit was ignored. Rahul Gandhi slams lack of accountability in the case. "45-year-old Nitin Nabin formally takes over as the BJP party president, the youngest person to hold the post. Prime Minister hails his millennial boss. Nabin sets eyes on Tamil Nadu and Kerala ports. A fresh spat between the Tamil Nadu government and Governor Ravi walks out of the opening day of the winter session, alleging anthem insulted. Stalin government hits back, says traditions disrespected. Karnataka Director General of Police K. Ramachandra Rao suspended after multiple videos purportedly showing him in a compromising position with a woman. It went viral on social media, rejecting all claims. Rao terms allegations fabricated and false. And US President Donald Trump doubles down on Greenland claim before leaving for Davos. Says he will tell European leaders we have to have it. Also shares a series of pictures and messages.
Well, I don't think they're going to push back too much. Look, we have to have it. They have to have this done. They can't protect it.
EU chief slams Trump tariffs over Greenland. EU to Trump, this is her speech at Davos, says response will be unflinching. Starting off with some breaking news at this point of time, and this is regarding the Noida Techie's demise. NDTV has now confronted the Noida DM over the Techie's death. This at a time when probe has intensified in the Noida Techie's death. Earlier yesterday, we broke how Lukesh, the Noida CEO, was put on wait list. The latest coming in is at NDTV, which has been continuously getting you all the lapses, the loopholes, which led to the death of 27-year-old Yuvraj Mehta. The latest coming in is that NDTV has now confronted the Noida DM over the Techie's death and has also asked some important questions about the lapses, the civic apathy of all the residents living there. The top Noida authorities are right now at the mishap spot. The special intensive team has also been formed, and they're also at the accident spot, which is at Sector 150 in Greater Noida. This is where the accident took place. The latest coming in is that NDTV has now questioned the officials after Yuvraj Mehta's demise few days earlier. Listen in to how NDTV confronted the Noida DM of the Techie's death and asked some very important, pertinent questions. Take a look.
Well, let us also speak to Noida DM Medha Rupam, who is over here. Medha ji, what you have to say on this entire matter? DDMA is the first respondent. Why the team was not present on the spot? Medha ji, the people want to know that what has happened. Today is done, Yuvraj. There could be another Yuvraj. Don't touch me like this. Don't touch me like this, please. You need to answer the questions now. क्या कहना चाहेंगे आप? मेधा जी, अशोक जी, यहाँ आइए, यहाँ आइए, हटिए। What would you want to say? You are the DDMA was the first respondent. Why you were not present? Medha ji, you are the GM of Noida. What would you like to say? What would you like to say on this? The DDMA is the first respondent. On your screens, let us also go from that side. Why no action is being taken? Was Noida not saying anything? Why did the CDO? He is the first respondent. We are just asking questions, nothing else. Why ask him questions as to what they have to say? You cannot stop us like this from asking the questions. क्या कहना चाहेंगे? यहाँ पे पानी भरा हुआ है पूरा. आप क्यों हैं? मेधा जी, why you not saying? जवाब दीजिए मेधा जी. आप सवालों से क्यों भाग रही हैं? मेधा, people want to know that what has actually happened. You being the first responding DDMA, why DDMA was not there? Why? What you have to say on this? So Noida DM. Why was not any preparation?
आप 4 दिन बाद पद पर आई है, ऐसा नहीं हो सकता कि आप जवाब नहीं देंगे।
And well, I have with us my colleague Techie, who's been tracking the story very closely. Techie, we saw that the Noida DM refusing to answer very important, pertinent question that you've raised. NDTV has, of course, confronted the DM at this point of time. You are joining us live from the spot where the accident happened. What's the situation like as of now? We are learning that an SIT team has been formed. The Noida CEO has been put on wait list. But what more action are we expecting in times to come?
Action after the incident is what we are witnessing over here, but first of all let me show you the pictures over here that what is happening. You can see that it's been more than 4 days, but still they are not able to recover the car. The NDRF teams now with all the equipments are on the spot to recover the car. Imagine what must have been the situation at that particular point of time. If the NDRF team would have reached, if they would have all the equipments, then they would have rescued it very easily. But now you can imagine the intensity of that situation. Not just that, but how deep this drain could be that they are still not able to find the car. It's been what, more than 4 hours, I guess, and still the situation and condition remains to be the same. Raisha authorities are coming, they are standing, they are taking a look at what is happening. But again, what is the result? A zero, because again today is for another. We saw that how 4 days back there was one Yuvraj who lost his life. Tomorrow it could be another one. But the main point over here is that the accountability needs to be fixed. I'm being quickly joined by Pankaj, who is friend of Yuvraj, who also his father him that day. How did his Yuvraj father called you, and what was Yuvraj expecting?
Yeah, so actually Yuvraj father actually messaged me like around 3:40 that Sonu गिर गया है नाले में, ठीक है, and he is not traceable. So I was like sleeping and I woke up like 5:30 only and I got to know and I called father. So उन्होंने बताया कि वो ट्रेस नहीं हो रहा है पंकज, ऐसी बात है. तो फिर मैं वहाँ से घर से जल्दी निकला. I live in like वसंत कुंज, तो मैं वहाँ से आया था. It takes around 40 minutes only and by the time I reach उनका कॉल आ गया कि वो रिकवर हो गया. The thing how एक्चुअली आई नो बिकॉज मैंने उनको कॉल किया कि उसका कॉल ऑन गया है. हमारा फेस टाइम वगैरह कनेक्टेड था हमारे दोनों मेरे भाई का.
क्या बोल रहा था युवराज लगातार?
तो मैम वो एक्चुअली मैं वहाँ से आवाज़ दे रहा था कि हेल्प मुझे बचा लो. उसका फर्स्ट कॉल 11:24 पे था उसके फादर को, एंड फादर को कॉल करते उन्होंने बोला कि पापा मैं नाले में गिर गया हूँ, मुझे बचा लो. तो फादर वहाँ से निकले हैं बिल्कुल जैसे सिचुएशन में थे और वो वेट कर रहे थे कि फादर बच्चे आएंगे साथ में खाना खाएंगे दोनों. वो वहाँ से निकले हैं, उन्होंने किसी को डिस्टर्ब नहीं किया. ये टू बी ऑनेस्ट हॉस्पिटल वो नहीं वो बेसिकली वो आए हैं यहाँ पे स्पॉट पे. उन्होंने पहले स्पॉट किया है. 12:07 पे भी कॉल हुआ है. जब 12:07 पे वो अंदर.
Right, that was my colleague Techie talking to Yuvraj Mehta's friend there. There he's saying that how he got a distress call from Yuvraj Mehta's father saying that his son is stuck in a canal. Perhaps he was hoping that the officials will reach and that Yuvraj Mehta will be recovered. But to remind all our viewers, Yuvraj Mehta was hanging by the roof of his car for 90 odd minutes. For 90 odd minutes, he was crying for help. He was pleading for some kind of help. But the officials who reached perhaps late at the spot failed to save Yuvraj Mehta, who then died at around 1:30 a.m. Let's tell you more about this. We're also learning that there has been, the Uttar Pradesh government has now cracked down on the government officials as 2 prior warnings were ignored. The Noida CEO has now been shunted out. Lokesh. The victim, Yuvraj's car, pulled from the pit as the SIT probe has intensified and the builder has been arrested. Well, these are all the actions that have been taken so far. NDTV has now accessed footage from January 2nd showing a truck. Remember, this is not the first time that a car plunged into that 30-foot water pitfall that you see on your screens right now. Is perhaps another incident which happened prior to the tragic incident which led to Yuvraj Mehta's death. This visual on your screens right now is from January 2nd. It shows a truck falling into the same pit in Noida. The driver was rescued by an eyewitness. Again, no barricading, no repair, no action for 15 odd days. Is it civic apathy or not? That's what we're asking here on NDTV. On January 17th, Yuvraj's car fell into that very pit. He did not survive. But this is not just about inaction in January. A 2023 letter from the UP Irrigation Department had already flagged the danger, urging the Noida Authority to install regulators to drain excess water with funds already sanctioned. That warning gathered dust because that letter is nowhere to be found, and the pit remained open. 2 warnings ignored with 1 very young life lost, just 27-year-old. A tragedy that could have been prevented, killed by apathy, negligence, and official sleepwalking.
है टेकी को लेके वो जो टैक्स बच्चा जो है वो डूबा
वो दुख का कारण है और चिंता का कारण भी है कि सभी व्यवस्थाओं के बावजूद हम लोग उस युवा को नहीं बचा पाए। ये चिंता का विषय है।
Well, the truck driver Gurvinder Singh, who met with the accident at the same spot on January 2nd prior to the mishap with Yuvraj Mehta, has now spoken to our correspondent Akil. He says that if action had been taken back then, Yuvraj would have been alive today. He says that internal injuries left him struggling to speak with stuttering, starting only after the accident. Take a look.
भाई साहब ऐसे हुआ कि रोड से 10 कदम पे नाला है, तो वहाँ कोई साइन बोर्ड नहीं है, वहाँ कोई बैरिकेड नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है। तो हमने तो सोचा कि रोड ही है, तो हमारी गाड़ी वहाँ हिट हो गई। जो गाड़ी के आगे वाले टायर हैं वो आगे चले गए, जो सेंटर वाले हैं वो नाले में फंस गए। तो हमें लगा कि नीचे पक्की जगह है, गाड़ी फुटपाथ पार कर गई। तो मैंने जैसे नीचे छाल मारी, भाई साहब इतना पानी था मेरे।
आप कितने घंटे वहाँ पर फंसे हुए थे?
4 घंटे।
क्या बात कर रहे हैं आप? कह रहे हैं 12 बजे घटना घटती है, आप सुबह 4 बजे तक वहीं पे उसी जगह पर?
वहीं उसी पे।
कौन कौन आपकी मदद के लिए आया वहाँ पे?
वो लड़कियों का नाम नहीं मालूम है।
नहीं, ये प्रशासन की तरफ से कोई आया? पुलिस की टीम
की तरफ से आए थे, लेकिन कोई मदद नहीं करी। अगर प्रशासन चाहता तो जेसीबी तुरंत आ सकती थी।
नहीं, पुलिस टीम मौजूद ही वहाँ पे आई?
2 आदमी आए थे।
कितने बजे आए? कितने घंटे बाद?
वो आए हैं कोई 2-3 के आसपास।
2-3 के आसपास, मतलब घटना 12 बजे होती है और 2 घंटे बाद 3 घंटे बाद पुलिस आती है वहाँ। फायर ब्रिगेड की टीम आई थी वहाँ पे?
कोई नहीं आया।
SDRF की टीम आई थी?
कुछ नहीं आया।
NDRF की टीम आई थी वहाँ पे?
कुछ नहीं आया भाई।
नोएडा अथॉरिटी की टीम आई थी वहाँ पे?
कुछ नहीं। नोएडा अथॉरिटी की टीम कब आई? जब मैं बाहर निकल गया अगले दिन 12-1 बजे दोपहर को। तो उल्टा वो हमसे बोल रहे हैं कि हमारे जो नाला टूट गया है इसके पैसे कौन देगा?
Well, you heard the ordeal of the truck driver then. These are the visuals on your screens right now. 2 warnings issued. Warning 1, the 2023 letter, which was issued by the UP government to the Noida Authority, asking perhaps to install reflectors or any kind of warning so that the car does not overshoot the right turn there. That warning was ignored in 2023. The letter is still missing. Warning number 2, on January 2nd, the truck, it plunged into that 30-foot water pitfall there. Again, no warnings. Again, there was no action taken on all these 2 warnings. Hence, 2 warnings ignored and a young life lost. Let's now take you through all the lapses, the inadequate rescue operation, and how perhaps Yuvraj Mehta died. Number 1. Yuvraj would have been alive today only if officials acted on both those warnings. 2 warnings were ignored. We took you through both the 2 warnings. That was a 2023 letter and the truck driver plunging into that pond, which was again ignored. First warning, official letter flagged the need to install regulator at the pit. This was flagged in 2023. Warning number 2. Now, before we go to warning number 2, let's tell you more about this letter. The UP Irrigation Department wrote to the Noida authority on the pit. But that warning letter, which was written in 2023, gathered dust, lost in files because the officials slept. That letter is nowhere to be found. Warning number 2. A truck, this happened on January 2nd itself, perhaps 10 days prior to that tragic incident. The truck fell in the same pit. The driver was lucky, he was saved. But like you heard his bite that he exclusively gave to NDTV, he says that there was no SDRF, no NDRF, a bypasser, an eyewitness saved his life. So no action by officials after the truck accident as well. And then on January 17th, Yuvraj Mehta's car, it falls in the same very pit where there were 2 warnings prior, but he dies. So officials did not act for 15 long days. 2 warnings given and a young life lost. Well, at this point of time, with all the uproar happening, there have been a slew of actions which have been taken. We'll take you through all the actions which the authorities have taken. Number 1, Noida Authority CEO M. Lokesh has now been removed. He's put on wait list. The Noida Authority has also, perhaps the junior engineer has also been terminated along with the Noida CEO being removed. Now, a special intensive team, SIT team has been formed, and the team, perhaps it needs to submit a report about the area, the lapses, within a span of 5 days. Apart from this, the builder and the real estate owner, they both have also been arrested. Hence, at this point of time, these are the actions which have been taken. Well, my colleague Techie is there, joining us live from the spot, Sector 115, Greater Noida. Techie, a short while ago, you showed us the area there, the remnants of the car, they're still not being rescued. What's the update on that? And talk to us more about the civic apathy. Imagine a 30-foot water pit fall, so deep, no warnings, no barricades there. How do you see the situation panning out moving forward, and what kind of action, more action can we expect?
Well, see, as of now, what we can expect is that more suspensions should take place, not just that, but also those who are accountable. The accountability should be fixed. But in the parallel lines, I'll also keep on showing you the visuals, Raisha, as you were talking about what happens to the car. So the car is still missing. They are trying to locate that where the car is. They are trying to recover the car. And this also, by this also, you can just imagine that how horrific the condition must have been and how deep is this drain, that it's been more than 3 days, 4 days actually, and now they are not able to still find the car. Now, to the irony, they have all the equipment, they have all the latest equipments, from ropes to the officials, from ropes to rescuers, and also I should say the trained rescuers who at that point of time were not present at the spot. If they would have been present over there, if the action would have been taken on time, then today Yuvraj would have been there with us. But again, these all actions, these all suspensions will be of no use, because we'll not be able to bring Yuvraj again. That is what the big question over here is, that why, because of the negligence of the authorities, some innocent individual should lose his life. We'll also keep on showing you the visuals over here, that how this entire operation is going on, and we have been reporting over here since morning. And in fact, we'll also show you the visuals on my left hand side as well, so as to how there is no barricading. Yes, people have come over here to at least get a sense and show their protest, that why no barricading is being done over here. You can see that there was the particular spot where this entire incident took place, and still there is no action being, still there is no barricade. That point of time, no barricading was done, and that is why in fact his vehicle just completely attached into this wall from where we are reporting right now. But these pictures are very much important, and needs to be seen that how long they will be able to continue this operation. Find what the investigation is going on. The first arrest of the builder has been made in the case. SIT has already been formed, who just visited the spot some time back. The senior authorities also did visit the spot. We did try to confront them, but again there was no answer from them. Next is what we'll FIRs have been filed. Now next remains to be seen that how many more arrests are to be made in this case, so that at least we could do justice with Yuvraj Mehta, who has lost his life.
Techie, you're getting us the live visuals of the rescue ops of the remnants of the car. But of course, $1 million question is that who will be answerable for the death of Yuvraj Mehta, a 27-year-old boy who lost his life because of civic apathy there in Greater Noida. Let's tell you more about this story that we've been tracking very closely. A shocking claim in the Noida Techie death case has come to the surface. Eyewitness Muninder Singh has claimed that 3 police officers threatened and pressurized him to change his statement. Remember, Muninder Singh was the delivery worker who tried to save Yuvraj Mehta that night, the Noida techie who drowned after his car fell into a ditch in Greater Noida. The witness says that he can identify the police officers involved. Remember, Muninder Singh had clearly said that the officials who came to the spot were apprehensive into jumping inside that 30-foot deep water pitfall because of various reasons. Remember, the UP government has now shunted out a top Noida authority official and has also set up an SIT for probe. But the government has also faced questions from within. Noida BJP MP Mahesh Sharma called the death tragic and raised questions over delayed rescue.
सर मतलब प्रशासन की तरफ से भी जो लोकल पर्सन हैं वो भी बहुत सारे ये बोल रहे हैं कि अपने फ़ोन को स्विच ऑफ कर दे, यहाँ से चला जा, 10-20 दिन मत दिख, इस केस में मत खड़ा हो खुल के। अब एक चीज़ बताएं सर, मैंने 3 दिन सच्चाई दिखाई है, पूरे ऑल इंडिया को लगा ले, मैंने एक छोटी से लेकर बड़े तक मैंने बिल्डर तक की भी पोल खोली है, अथॉरिटी की पोल खोली है कि जब बिल्डर अथॉरिटी ने ये बेसमेंट सीज किया था, उस बिल्डर के खिलाफ केस हुआ था, अथॉरिटी ने सीज किया था, अथॉरिटी ने इसको लेवल क्यों नहीं किया, ये मौत का गड्ढा क्यों खोद के रखा, फिर अथॉरिटी की भी तो गलती है, मान के चलो। और बिल्डर ने ऐसा बताता कि ओ जी
समझाइए मुझे, आपको थाने बुलाया गया, आपका स्टेटमेंट रिकॉर्ड हुआ है नहीं हुआ?
जी जी जी।
प्रेशर क्या
प्रेशर यही है कि इस केस से अलग हट जाओ बिल्कुल। जो अपने साथ में लगा के वीडियो में ये बुलवाया था कि मोनिंदर आप एक काम करो, पुलिस को साथ में लेके चलो, पुलिस से आप बैर मत बांधो, ये चीज़ गलत है वगैरह, ये बहुत ज़्यादा गलत हो जाएगी आपके लिए, ऐसे ऐसे बोल के मेरे साथ वीडियो बनाइए।
Well, the politics around the Noida techie's death is heating up. Congress MP Rahul Gandhi has launched a blistering attack saying that roads kill, bridges kill, water kills, but corruption and indifference kill the most, calling it a failure of accountability. Another Congress MP goes further, refusing to call it an accident, branding the death a murder due to negligence and lack of safety.
इसे एक्सीडेंट और दुर्घटना मत कहिए जो नोएडा में हुआ है, सॉफ्टवेयर इंजीनियर, वो तो हत्या है, कोई रोक टोक नहीं थी, गाड़ी के साथ चला गया, इतना बड़ा गड्ढा खुला हुआ था। नोएडा एनसीआर है, दिल्ली का हिस्सा है, भारत की राजधानी का हिस्सा है, और फिर कहां पहुंच गए हैं आप ये नए भारत में कि वो अपने पिता को फोन कर रहा है, लोग खड़े किनारे पे देख रहे हैं और उसे बचाने का कोई इक्विपमेंट नहीं, कोई साधन नहीं, कोई मेथड नहीं, कोई प्रक्रिया नहीं, एक बेबस आदमी की हत्या होती रही और लोग देखते रहे।
देखिए, ये बहुत ही दुखद मामला है, इंसानियत का सबसे बड़ा काम होना चाहिए था बचाने के लिए। हमें हमारी एजेंसियों को और सब एक मानवता का मामला है, इसे मानवता के उससे देखा जाए तो ये बहुत गंभीर मामला हुआ है। और बाद में जिस आदमी एक वो जो कह रहा है कि मैंने एक और शख्स की जान बचाई थी, वो कह रहा है कि कुछ ऐसा था नहीं, तो मानवता को बचाने के लिए वो जज्बा होना बहुत जरूरी है। इसलिए मानवता का संदेश इसीलिए मानवता की तालीम भी दी जानी चाहिए समाज में, और मानवता की जो मानवता के अंदर जो एक शक्ति जिस चीज से ऊर्जा मिलती है उसको, इंसानियत को, उस पर भी मेहनत होनी चाहिए।
And shifting our focus to another big story that we're tracking very closely, the Madras High Court has once again reserved its orders on the release of TVK chief Vijay's final movie, Jananayagan. The hearing today in the High Court began with the CBFC's argument stating that they were fully within their rights to ask for a review of the movie. The High Court observed that the makers of the movie cannot ask for an expedited release of the movie, citing financial reasons. The makers, however, have argued that they were not made aware of the review and that the certification was provided before asking for the required cuts in the movie. Let's tell you more about the statements that were given out in the Madras High Court today and the observation that the Madras High Court made. Number one, that the CBFC should have rather given minimum time. Let's tell you the censor board's charges and the director's counter. First person, the chairperson has powers to order review. To that, the directors say that the CBFC chairperson's orders not given to us yet. Let's move on to the second pointer. Several movies have been sent to revising committee. That's what the censor board alleges. Censor board says, to which the directors, the KBN Productions, allege that we were merely informed of their orders. Apart from this, the censor board says objections conveyed within 7 days, but the makers say that just 4-5 days prior to the release is when this happened. CBFC gave no information on the complaints and the directors are perhaps ready to make changes when it comes to the minor edits. Then, the censor board says producers should not challenge the review, to which director says no transparency from censor board's side. So this is where things stand, what the censor board are saying and the counter by the director so far. Let's tell you more about the Jananayagan CBFC row, where things are headed to at this point of time. So let's tell you more about the movie and where things stand and all that's happened at the court. Well, at this point of time, the Madras High Court has reserved its orders in the Jananayagan CBFC matter, but it has not mentioned a date in the judgment. This means that the court will announce its decision later, and the date will be informed only when the order is ready. And this is, of course, TVK Chief Vijay's last movie before he enters politics. A lot has been happening in his life before the polls in Tamil Nadu at this point of time. Let's now take you through the timeline of all that has happened so far and the hiccups and the roadblocks when it comes to TVK Chief's Vijay's movie Jananayagan. So December 18th, Jananayagan submitted to CBFC Chennai for the movie review because it was slated to release on January 9th. Then on December 24th, I'll ask my director to move to the second page. On December 24th, the makers accepted minor edits. KBN Productions said that we will accept the minor edits in the movie. But then, on January 5th, which is just 4 days prior to the release, makers were informed of complaint. This is on January 5th, the makers were informed of complaint. And on January 6th, then, this is 3 days before the actual release date, KBN Productions filed petition to the Madras High Court. January 9th, single judge directed CBFC to issue UA certificate and the order was stayed. CBFC then filed a writ plea. All this is happening on the day that the movie had to be released, which is January 9th. And of course, the release date of Jananayagan was postponed on January 9. January 11th, makers approached the Supreme Court. Then on January 15th, the Supreme Court refused to hear matter and instructed makers to approach the Madras High Court to decode all that has happened. When it comes to Jananayagan, my colleague Sam Daniels is now joining me live. Sam, at this point of time, the Madras High Court has reserved the order, but it has not mentioned a date for the judgment. Can you decode what that means for the movie, for our viewers, and what can we expect moving forward? Will we actually get a concrete date of the release of Jananayagan?
Well, the arguments were concluded today by both sides, the CBFC as well as the film producers, and the court, the division bench has reserved orders without mentioning dates. The expectation is that by the weekend, before Friday, lawyers hope the court will be able to pass orders. The CBFC argued that the single judge did not give enough time for them to file their counter, and they argued that according to the rules, the chairman of the Film Certification Board is well within his rights to ask a revising committee to review the film, although initially the another committee had watched the film. And they point out that it's just not Jananayagan. Several other films also go through this process. Had the CBFC been allowed to go on, by now they would have finished the process and perhaps the certification could have been issued. But because of the court case, now the entire thing has been delayed. But the producer argued that there's no transparency in CBFC. In fact, even after they made all those changes recommended by the committee, they did not grant a certification. Initially, they had assured that once these changes are made, they are good to go and that the certification will be issued. And then suddenly, they bring in an element saying that there's a complaint by somebody and that's why they have to refer the film to another revising committee. And even they did not upload the chairman's order, the board's order, but they only had uploaded the intimation.
Right.
It was on these lines largely they argued, and they also added that if there is merit in the case, it's fine for a judge to pass orders even without asking for the other party to file their counter. And in this case, that appears to be the reason why the single judge had passed an order without waiting for the CBFC to file a counter. And they also point out the date for the release of the film has been announced, and it's a 500 crore film, and that's why there is a bit of urgency. Finally, the court observed that it's not right on the part of the producer to fix the dates first and then pressure the court, citing the heavy investment. And now all eyes would be on what the court would have to say whenever they pass orders in this case.
Right, and we'll wait and have to see when the movie actually gets released for the TVK Vijay's Thalapathi's fans to watch the movie. But thanks, Sam. Let's tell you more about the observations which were made in Madras High Court today when it comes to TVK Vijay's Jananayagan. Observation number 1, CBFC should have given minimum time to file counter. Then, the producer cannot seek relief citing release date. Apart from this, cannot seek relief citing rupees 500 crore investment. You cannot say that a lot of money has been put in the movie. Then, examining panel only an advisory body. So these are some of the big statements, takeaways that happened today in the Madras High Court when it comes to TVK Chief Vijay's Jananayagan. Well, on that note, we slip into a very short break, but come right back. Lots lined for you here on Prime 5.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand. Motorola Edge 70, India's only ultra-thin phone with 3x50 MP cameras. Grab Motorola Edge 70 today.
After Delhi and Hyderabad teed off in style, the NDTV PGTI Golf Pro-Am now travels to Mumbai, where business leaders and professionals will connect and compete, charged with excitement and energy on one of the country's most storied courses. NDTV PGTI Golf Pro-Am, the course of champions, the conversation of leaders, 23rd January 2026, Mumbai.
The front lines of Kargil, the fury of Operation Sindoor,
so many attacks.
The chaos and cries of disaster zones to fighter jet cockpits and the world's most defining interviews.
It's incredible.
He has seen history break. Live, unfiltered. 20,000 hours of live broadcasting.
Welcome to Left, Right and Centre.
Hard facts.
War-struck country.
Hard questions.
In the Ukraine.
30 years of trust.
In the Kargil area. North Ukraine. In France. In Italy. At Srinagar. Vishnu Shom for NDTV.
Vishnu Shom. Only on NDTV.
"21 days in Kashmir. People have bombarded me, friends, with requests for an unfiltered list of things I saw and observed on the ground. Very special ground report from the line of control. There were some children who've lost limbs in the shelling. They're now India's smallest but possibly the most powerful crime family. Cough syrup has killed at least 25 children. Gaikwad sahab, aise mat kijiye. Suddenly people are wondering about the weaponization of India-Pakistan cricket. We live and breathe elections. You will not believe your eyes or ears when I show you what I'm about to do.
And for a country that has fought so many wars in the mountains and at high altitude.
We're standing on the Indian Navy's newest warship. The line of control, Shiv Arun, NDTV.
Across the country, he has tracked the pulse of power from Washington to Korea. Witnessed history being made in global capitals and conflict zones. Brought clarity to complex issues of national security and international affairs. Aditya Raj Kaul, covering international affairs like no one else. Only on NDTV network. The first Indian news channel at the World Economic Forum at Davos. 21 years at the heart of the world's most influential dialogue.
Continuing to make sure that the poorest are not forgotten.
Big enough, brave enough, bold enough to face the critics.
We've been doing more and more improvements.
We are the fastest growing amongst the major economies.
Both of us are interested in these.
Young girls aren't in school because they're scavenging for water for the family.
We need to get out of the way and into the work of breaking open access for each and everyone.
Now, India's most trusted news network returns to the Alps with its most formidable editorial voices. NDTV Ignite at Davos.
Straight from the heart of the newsroom to the core of the stories shaping your world. Join me, Gargi Raut, as I track all the developments as they break. Live from the NDTV newsroom, weekdays at 4 p.m.
A very special moment for us as we announce NDTV Master Stroke, the NDTV Art Awards.
NDTV presents the Master Stroke Art Awards. An odyssey of creative brilliance where the masterpiece meets its ultimate recognition.
NDTV bringing this subject forward would have a great integrity of putting it forward where people could understand the importance of art.
This award that is being started, I'm sure is going to be amazing.
Art for India and for Indians is an expression of our Atmanirbharta.
It's actually quite a formidable jury, so I think we'll reveal a lot more as we go along.
This is an amazing platform, I think, today what you're doing.
Honoring the masters who define our creative landscape. Coming soon on the NDTV network.
What seems settled for me is unfinished business. So I rewind, I pause, I reflect, I dig until what's buried stands up to become.
Welcome back. You're watching Prime 5 with me, Raisha Sehgal. And while US President Donald Trump has doubled down on his claim for Greenland, he's en route to Davos for the World Economic Forum. But before his departure, he clearly said that the United States of America will have to have Greenland. Well, there have been a lot of backlash from Europe. Let's now take you through that. US President Donald Trump, who has left for the World Economic Forum in Davos, has said that he will tell European leaders we have to have Greenland. Trump has intensified push to acquire Greenland by posting a series of AI images on Truth Social that seem to show the US taking over Greenland. US President Donald Trump has shared a provocative post on Truth Social, displaying a map of the United States of America that depicts Greenland and Canada as a part of American territory. The post comes amid Trump's renewed push to take control of Greenland, which he has repeatedly framed as a matter of national security. In the image, Trump is shown seated inside the Oval Office, flanked by several NATO leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, and European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, among others. In yet another social media post, the US President shared what looks like an AI-generated image. In this image, Trump is seen hoisting the US flag in Greenland. The post has sparked fresh controversy, raising concerns among US allies over Washington's intentions towards the Arctic region. And while continuing with his Greenland rhetoric, Trump has also criticized the UK's plans to return sovereignty of Diego Garcia, an island that houses a crucial military base, to Mauritius. Trump has seemingly cited the decision to justify his ambitions for the US to acquire Greenland for national security purposes. Trump has threatened 200% tariffs on French wine and champagne over Paris's intentions to decline his invitation to join his Board of Peace when it comes to the war in Gaza. The US leader also shared in a Truth Social post a private message he received from French President Emmanuel Macron regarding Greenland. Well, let's listen in to what the US President Donald Trump has to say about his post on Truth Social.
Well, I don't think they're going to push back too much. Look, we have to have it. They have to have this done. They can protect it. Denmark, they're wonderful people. And I know the leaders, they're very good people, but they don't even go there.
Do you have any response to President Macron saying he will not join the Board of Peace?
Oh, did he say that? Well, yeah. Nobody wants him because he's going to be out of office very soon. So, you know, that's all right. What I'll do is if they feel like Costo, I'll put a 200% tariff on his wines and champagnes, and he'll join. But he doesn't have to join.
All right, stay on with the story. We have some breaking news for you. EU Chief Ursula von der Leyen she spoke at the World Economic Forum earlier today in Davos. And this comes ahead of US President Donald Trump's visit to the World Economic Forum. While addressing the Greenland situation directly, the EU chief has hit out at Trump. She said that the Arctic security can only be achieved together. She further said that Europe is fully committed when it comes to the security of the Arctic, and of course that all the European nations will come forward with a package for Greenland. And she also commented on the additional tariffs which the US president is planning to impose on 8 European nations. Von der Leyen says that additional tariffs are a mistake between allies, further referencing at the US-EU trade deal, which was agreed upon last July. The EU chief has also told Trump, issued a warning that the response will be unflinching. But on the trade deal, she said that a deal is a deal. And this, of course, comes after Trump warned imposing tariffs on the nations. Listen in to what Ursula von der Leyen, the EU chief, said at the World Economic Forum.
It shows that our northern NATO members have Arctic-ready forces right now. And above all, that Arctic security can only be achieved together. And this is why the proposed additional tariffs are a mistake, especially between long-standing allies. The European Union and the United States have agreed to a trade deal last July. And in politics, as in business, a deal is a deal. We have to be strategic about how we approach this issue. And this is why we are working on a package to support Arctic security, full solidarity with Greenland and the Kingdom of Denmark. The sovereignty and integrity of their territory is non-negotiable.
Well, a day after Europe said that it will not be blackmailed or intimidated, US President Donald Trump has now dismissed the prospect of the European Union resisting his push to annex Greenland. He's calling it too much, and he's clearly said that US needs to have Greenland. He's, of course, repeated his desire to take the self-governing Danish territory. While Trump has repeatedly said that taking control of Greenland is one of his top agenda, what we are also learning is that Denmark is now sending more troops to Greenland amid tensions with Trump. Our next report telling you more.
It started quietly with a message on a phone. It ended loudly shaking diplomacy across Europe. Norway's Prime Minister Jonas Gahr Store confirming he received a message from Donald Trump. One that blended frustration over the Nobel Peace Prize with demands over Greenland.
Jeg har ikke tenkt å gå inn og kommentere hver setning i den sms'en. Han veldig opptatt av Nobelprisen. Og jeg har forklart han lenge at det en pris som deles ut av en norsk komité, ikke av en norsk regjering.
According to European officials, Trump wrote that after not receiving the Nobel Prize, he no longer felt obligated to think purely of peace. The message went further, declaring the world unsafe unless the United States had complete and total control of Greenland. That line landed like a thunderclap.
This is a matter of basic principles, and we are living in 2026 where you can trade with people, but you can't trade people.
Greenland is a self-governing territory of Denmark and a strategic Arctic outpost tied to NATO security. Trump's message surfaced just as Washington announced new tariffs on several European allies, including Norway. Storr says he didn't respond in writing, but tried to reach Trump by phone. No answer. Instead, a weekend of urgent coordination with European leaders working, as Storr puts it, through an unusual situation. Still, he says diplomacy matters.
Nei, jeg har vel ikke svart på meldingen. Jeg ønsket jo å få til en telefonsamtale med han i går om disse spørsmålene sammen med den finske presidenten som jeg arbeider tett med. Og det lot seg jo ikke gjøre, og jeg sendte vel et signal om at vi synes fortsatt det vil være klokt med en sånn samtale.
The conversation could happen later this week at the World Economic Forum in Davos, where Trump is expected to attend. In Davos, the US administration, meanwhile, struck back at the controversy.
We have time for maybe one or two questions today, but I'll turn it over to the Secretary.
I don't know anything about the president's letter to Norway, and I think it's complete canard that the president will be doing this because of the Nobel Prize.
But as governments weighed their response, the public response took an entirely different turn. Across social media, Trump's message was mocked, memed, and openly ridiculed, with critics calling it surreal, exaggerated, and more grievance than geopolitics. Some joked that the Nobel Committee had suddenly become the most powerful force in foreign policy. One message meant to project strength, instead triggering diplomacy and debate. Proof that in global geopolitics, even a private note can go public and go viral. Arjun Samar Mahindran for NDTV World.
All right, shifting our focus now. The Brooklyn Beckham is breaking his silence and it's explosive. The 26-year-old has accused his famous parents, David and Victoria Beckham, of trying to control his life and damaging his marriage to Nicola Peltz. In a fiery social media statement, Brooklyn says that years of pressure left him anxious and forced him to finally speak out. He claims his parents, Victoria and David, and their team continued feeding stories to the press, leaving him no choice but to tell his side. Brooklyn insisted that he's not being controlled but standing up for himself and his wife as the dispute of the Beckham family spills into the public eye. Brooklyn Beckham and Nicola Peltz tied the knot in 2022. Nicola is an American actor, writer and director born in 1995. She's the daughter of billionaire activist investor Nelson Peltz and former model of Claudia Hefner Peltz. Nicola first met Brooklyn Beckham in Coachella back in 2017, and then the pair tied the knot in a high-profile wedding in 2022. Let's tell you more about the allegations made by Brooklyn Beckham. So the first allegation is that the mother, let's take you through those allegations. Mother hijacked the first dance with my wife. We're talking about Victoria Beckham here. My mother danced inappropriately in front of 500 guests. Then he also says, never felt more humiliated or uncomfortable in my entire life. Mother cancelled making my wife's dress at the 11th hour. He also goes on to say that parents tried to bribe me to sign away rights of my name. Parents, Victoria and David Beckham, adamant on taking away rights to my name before wedding. Then there's more. Victoria called me evil because we sat guests at our table. Then parents sat at the adjacent table from Nicola and I. The night before wedding, family told me Nicola is not blood and not family. So these are some of the statements, the allegations which Brooklyn Beckham has made against his parents, Victoria and David Beckham. Let's now tell you how Brooklyn has been defending his wife. First, narrative that my wife controls me is completely backwards. Now, these allegations have been made by Victoria and David Beckham, and we are telling you how Brooklyn is now defending his wife and countering all those allegations. Moving on to the second pointer there, my wife consistently disrespected by my family. Then, mother repeatedly invited women from my past to gatherings, perhaps his previous ties in front of his wife, Nicola. Father agreed to meet me only without Nicola. My mother refused to help Nicola save dogs during LA fires. And then my wife and I, we do not want a life shaped by press and manipulation. Hence, these are some of the statements which Brooklyn Beckham has given to defend his wife and has further spewed all these allegations to his parents. Now, on to staying on with this story. Perhaps red carpets have become red lines. And we are again on with this story where a 26-year-old Brooklyn Beckham is now bending the family's script. He's thrown a curveball no one saw coming. In a blistering social media post, which we've taken you through all these allegations and the statements, the eldest son of David and Victoria Beckham is accusing his famous parents of control, manipulation and betrayal. Our next report telling you more.
For years, the Beckham brand sold unity. But today, the image has cracked. Brooklyn Beckham, the eldest son of David and Victoria Beckham, going public with an explosive Instagram post. He's accusing his parents of controlling his life, his image, and even his marriage. Brooklyn says he's standing up for myself for the first time and that he doesn't want any reconciliation. He claims his parents tried to derail his relationship with wife Nicola Peltz. He alleged drama at the wedding and media pressure after the wedlock. Not only this, he also alleges that the Beckhams pushed him to sign away rights to his own name. Talk about a full-force strike. Brooklyn's post further says the narrative that his wife controls him is backwards. calling his break from family a turning point for his mental health. He writes that stepping away brought peace and not pain. And while the Beckhams haven't responded publicly online, reactions came fast. Fans calling it heartbreaking, others calling it overdue. But one post summed it up the best. Guess bended like Beckham has a double meaning. Bureau Report, NDTV.
Hello, Moto.
Motorola, India's leading AI smartphone brand. Motorola Edge 70, India's only ultra-thin phone with 3 into 50 MP cameras. Grab Motorola Edge 70 today.
लोग कहते हैं कि जिंदगी एक फिल्म की तरह होती है, लेकिन मेरी जिंदगी सिर्फ एक फिल्म नहीं, एक ब्लॉकबस्टर फिल्म है। बचपन से पता था मेरे सपनों में दम है, आगे नहीं सबसे आगे जाना है, स्टार नहीं सुपरस्टार बन के दिखाना है। नाम मिला, फेम मिला, प्यार मिला, I was not just running, I was flying। सबकी जुबां पे बस एक ही नाम, यो हनी सिंगर। लेकिन फिर ब्लॉकबस्टर कहानी में आया एक ट्विस्ट, 7वें आसमान से सीधा गिरा मैं जमीन पर। फिर क्या, खुद पे काम दोबारा शुरू, फैंस ने फिर प्यार दिखाया, फिर स्टार नहीं सुपरस्टार बनाया। है ना मेरी जिंदगी एक ब्लॉकबस्टर फिल्म। शुक्रिया आपकी प्रेयर्स का और आपके प्यार का। कॉन्सर्ट्स तो आपने बहुत देखे होंगे, बट दिस इज गोना बी कॉन्सर्ट ऑफ अ लाइफटाइम, क्योंकि मेरे फैंस ही हैं मेरी विक्ट्री, मेरी हिस्ट्री, मेरी ग्लोरी। सो कम एंड विटनेस यो हनी सिंह, दिस इज माय स्टोरी।
I don't sugarcoat. I shoot straight and tell you stories the way they need to be told. Unfiltered, unafraid, unmissable. That's how I roll. Watch me, Priyanka Deo, on NDTV World. Namaste.
Alright team, our new order show is ready. Now we need a promo. Something cool, something sharp.
Well, I'm sure we'll be having outstanding reviews, solid suggestions,
Expert advice, the latest trends. It's a lot simpler. We'll help people make the right auto decisions. It's got the cool stuff, geeky stuff, serious stuff, all of it, so that you can discover, decide and drive. I'm Siddharth Sharma and I am your Automate.
Unprecedented headwinds, chaos, and great global uncertainty.
In times like these, clarity matters.
Davos is known as the playground of the global elite, and this time round will perhaps be one of the most important meetings in recent years.
Geopolitics to technology, we highlight conversations reshaping the world.
And
what do these meta trends mean for India with the biggest global voices? Watch our live coverage of the World Economic Forum at Davos, NDTV Ignite, all week long, only on the NDTV network. Pulling us into this country.
They argue, I conclude. They deflect, I drill down. This isn't a free-for-all. It's a reckoning. No filler, no fog. Only the facts and where they lead. Every night at 9, the case closes because the buck stops here.
Mumbai are bringing our first India tour in your city. Rag on with Shankar Ehsan Loy and Siddharth Mahadevan and Shivam Mahadevan. 5 times melody, 5 times masti with NDTV Good Times. Go grab your tickets on Live Your City by Fever.
Watch Jai Jawan with me this Republic Day only on NDTV.
Very good evening and welcome to Nationwide at 6 on NDTV. I am Ankit Tyagi. Ladies and gentlemen, as promised yesterday, I keep my focus on the broadcast on what happened to a young man. His life lost, not because of his own fault, because the authorities slept. They slept on the wheel and that resulted in his tragic death. That is where we'll keep the spotlight on, we'll keep the focus on this special coverage. I want to talk about how after on a foggy, cold night, Yuvraj, by mistake, on a 90-degree turn road, drove into this pit, this construction site. The Uttar Pradesh government, though now has cracked the whip, officials have been suspended, warnings were issued, but the fact remains that the government officials slept, resulting in this death. It's a murder, ladies and gentlemen. And why am I saying this? Why am I saying that this is a murder? Because there were 2 prior warnings which were given to the Noida CEO, who has now been shunted out. Under his regime, under his administration, 2 prior warnings were ignored. The victim, Yuvraj's car, has now been pulled out of the pit. SIT probe is on. But the question remains, while you've arrested the builder, what were you doing for so many years? NDTV has access footage from January 2nd, and I want to play out this exact footage.